this motherfucker jumping, who gon' take it too far? I'm tryna see who pistol thumping, bullets light up the dark. Every time my body drop, it look like pieces of art. And with this chopper, paint the block up, nigga, call me Bob Ross. Hey, I'm who they wanna be, want me be the old me. New with me, just ride the beat, boy, Jag got the best of me.
Yes, so man, what's good YouTube? It's your boy Curtis Cash here, back with another video, man. I did a Savage from the 6 video just the other day, right? And that was on Rolex, homie, because I was like, if I want to get more info on the whole situation. I think the video had to be before he dropped that song, if I'm not correct. Before he dropped the Avengers K song with the other guy. That had to be way, well, kind of before, right? Because they didn't mention the song, you know, like in a little documentary. But y'all say, even if I want to do more research to learn more about the Toronto background and everything like that, that I had to look at the Neat brothers, right? Let's go ahead and get right into it, man. Savage from the 6, the Neat brothers. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, man. We've been dropping bangers all motherfucking day, man. I drop UK drill, Australian drill. I'm finna start getting into this Toronto rap real soon. We might start trying, bro. Make sure you motherfucking subscribe, man. We're on this road to 3K right now. Let's get right, man.
Buy entertainment, nigga.
Doing the Halloween stream, and I'm streaming today too. Might as well click that link down below.
That's my Molly. That's my Molly. Brand new glizzy, but it's filthy. Four in a Sprite, turn it filthy. Lean. Big chain, big rolly. I'm so filthy.
These are the.
I'm guessing that was them, right? That was one of the Neat brothers right there, so.
Two Honduel brothers, 23-year-old Farah and 22-year-old Abdul Kadir, better known as 21 and 22 Neat. They're both rappers from the Driftwood area and are part of a dangerous group, Neat/Was Gang. 21 Neat was the more active of the two, music-wise, putting out tracks like Ball, Change Up, Feed the Team, Rap Shit, Plugged Up, and featured on a song with YG, Money Music. 22 Neat would eventually hop on a track with his brother, and they made Filthy. Seems like they had a potential future in rap, but the two got caught up in the streets and each have a violent past, with a story that sadly ends tragically for both of them.
Oh, so these niggas is still in jail, right? I mean, the whole situation with the guy that got killed that they thought was Rolex, but it was really these two. That's what they in jail for, right? That's what I would assume. That's what they in jail for, and they not getting out no time soon. I don't even know why the fuck I asked that question, because the last video let me know the niggas was in jail. I just didn't know who they were, right? I didn't know who the fuck the Neat brothers were.
So today, on Savages from the 6, we'll take a look at the Neat brothers. As I mentioned, these two are from the Neat gang, and ultimately the Driftwood Crips. This is a known violent gang that's been the target of countless raids by the Toronto police that I've touched on in some of my other videos. Well, the point is, given their history, 21 and 22 Neat have probably been involved in the streets long before what's documented on the web. With that being said, the first instance of the Neat brothers is an incident with 22 Neat. On March 3rd of 2016, police say a 47-year-old man was smoking a cigarette on his front porch near Jane and Shoreham when he was approached by 3 suspects, each armed with a gun. He was dragged inside, and one man held him and his wife at gunpoint, while the others ransacked and then robbed the house. Now they got away at the time, but shortly later, 3 people would be arrested, including Farah Honduel, 22 Neat. He was charged with robbery with a firearm and possession of property obtained by crime. He spent some time in jail, but was apparently released at some point shortly after, because he commits another crime around a year later, but this time, something more serious.
Wait, he said cause he was, what?
The crime, around a year, was apparently released at some point shortly after, because he commits another crime around a.
He was released shortly after because he committed another crime? I don't think that's what he meant to say right there.
Year later, but this time, something more serious. We're now brought to Ottawa, Ontario, on September 21st, 2017. Police came to 1500 Caldwell Avenue in the early afternoon after a report of shots fired in the area. When they arrived, They found one man suffering multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to the hospital, but was pronounced dead. The victim was identified as Hamza Sirhan. He was 20 years old. A neighbor, who didn't want to be identified, claimed to have witnessed the killing, saying he saw a group of men knock on Hamza's door, and once he answered, one of them opened fire, striking him in his chest and back. The neighbor said that it was about money, and the murder was a quote-unquote debt being settled. Hamza's brother would also end up being killed just a year later.
What was you niggas doing? What?
But the police don't believe the shootings were connected. About a month after the investigation began, Ottawa police had a few suspects, including Farah Handul, 22 neat. He was declared the sole shooter, although the neighbor who witnessed the shooting claimed that the other men had guns too. Now a wanted man, 22 neat would then proceed to go on the run and evade police by traveling throughout the country. While he stayed in the shadows and kept his head low, his brother, 21 neat, would soon find himself involved in a similar situation. There's been a newfound beef between two areas in Toronto, Driftwood and Regent Park, or essentially Was/Neat Gang versus Halal Gang. This feud can be traced back to a brutal shooting that rocked the city and then.
So, the Neat brothers, right? Because Rolex said in the song To Freedom, they cool with this guy YG. I've seen his name a couple times, but I don't know who he is, right? So all of them are cool, and they all against Regent Park, right? The people from Regent Park, they with them. Because I know Rolex in the last Savage from the 6 was talking about go shoot up Regent Park on Instagram for people to see. I don't know. Shit weird to me, but rappers snitch on themselves all the time.
Entire hip-hop industry and really brought gang violence to the forefront in Toronto. This beef would just be the latest addition in Driftwood's list of foes. This brings us to the next unfortunate event in our timeline. This incident takes place in the downtown entertainment district of Toronto on June 30th, 2018, during a busy summer evening. A popular Regent Park rapper, Smoke Dawg, was with his brand manager Cobra Prime, standing outside of Cube nightclub.
Okay, so y'all told me Smoke Dawg was on tours with Drake and all of this, right? I haven't listened to any Smoke Dawg songs. I haven't really listened to any Toronto rap for real, besides some Houdini songs. So I'm still really new to the whole Toronto scene and everything like that, right? The only thing I know, like I said, is that he was on tours with Drake and he ended up getting killed as he was on his uprise too, so.
Located near Queen and Spadina, police say that suddenly at least 2 men approached Smoke Dawg and fired a series of shots. Smoke Dawg was struck in his head, and his brand manager was also hit multiple times. A woman was also severely wounded in the incident. The suspects quickly fled in an SUV. Smoke Dawg, whose real name is Javante Smart, was pronounced dead at the scene, and his brand manager Cobra Prime, named Ernest Modicway, was taken to the hospital but died shortly later. Now there's some pretty graphic images online showing Smoke Dawg laying on the street, bleeding while people rushed to it.
Oh, I heard that too. I think some people said down in the comments or something like that in the last video that they took pictures of his brains on the floor and shit. Like, y'all wild as hell. Whoever took pictures, y'all wild as hell for some shit like that, bruh.
His aid. It was a brazen and brutal broad day killing, and the police quickly began investigating the shooting. By July 11th, less than 2 weeks after the murder, the police had suspects and put warrants out. The first suspect was Abdul Qadir Handul, 21 neat. The second suspect was identified as 16-year-old Keyshawn Jones. They both faced 2 first-degree murder charges, as well as an attempted murder charge for the woman who was wounded in the incident. Both suspects were on the run, and the police began their search countrywide for the pair. This search would last just over a year. On July 4th of 2019, in Burnaby, British Columbia, police were investigating a potential hostage kidnapping situation at a building in the 4900 block of Sanders Street. They entered the apartment in question, and 3 men leaped over the balcony, trying to escape. 2 of them managed to drop to a balcony just 1 level below, but 1 man actually fell all the way to the ground, suffering severe injuries.
Oh, nigga, you took a double L right there, nigga. You took a double L. You took a, nigga, you got severe injuries and you going to jail? And you, your whole body fucked up, nigga. Your whole body fucked up.
They all ended up being arrested, and the hostage in question was safe. One of the men arrested ended up being none other than Abdul Qadir Handul, 21 neat. On top of the charges he already had, he now faced kidnapping and forcible confinement charges. He was quickly extradited to face his more serious Ontario charges first. The second suspect in the murder of Smoke Dawg, Keyshawn Jones, is still on the run to this day. Now with 21 neat locked up for the murder, the focus shifts back to the older neat brother, 22. At this point, he's been on the run and managed to evade law enforcement for over 2 years, about 27 months to be exact. And they would never end up catching him, because unfortunately, someone else seemed to be after 22 neat as well. The next event happens in Calgary, Alberta, on the cold night of December 26, 2019, just before—
Wait, so is he saying dude got killed?
To be exact. And they would never end up catching him, because unfortunately, someone else seemed to be after 22 neat as well.
So I'm assuming that he got killed, okay.
The next event happens in Calgary, Alberta.
That's the only reason he could be saying it like that. That is literally the only reason he could be saying it like that, bruh. Because he said the police didn't catch him, but somebody else was after him. So obviously somebody caught him, and that's tough.
On a cold night of December 26, 2019, just before a new year, a man named Vern McCarty was having a cigarette outside of a community center when he noticed a man walking on the street just as another man was exiting the store. Vern claims that it seemed like the 2 men recognized each other, and one of them suddenly took off running. The man chased the other through the streets and ended up shooting at the man 6 or 7 times before fleeing. Police and paramedics rushed to the scene, and they found a man already deceased, laying in the middle of the road. The victim was Farah Handul, 22 neat. Now the police quickly came up with a suspect in relation to the shooting, a man named Mohammed Hussein Ahmed from Toronto. He fled Calgary and into Saskatoon after the murder, but eventually made his way back to Ontario. Police tracked him, and he was arrested on January 6 of 2020 in connection to the shooting. Now there's some theories for a reason why 22 neat was killed. Some people say that he was actually the person responsible for killing YS, a fellow Driftwood rapper who was found shot in a Surrey, British Columbia home. So there's some speculation that it was a revenge killing. Now I'm still not sure why 22 neat would want to kill YS, since they were from the same area and seemingly from the same—
He probably felt YS was gonna snitch on him out of paranoia. That's tough.
gang. A piece of evidence that supports the revenge killing theory is the fact that the person arrested in connection to the shooting, Muhammad, happened to be from Toronto as well. And also the police said 22 neat was only in Calgary for a few days before his murder, so he could have been in BC at the time YS was killed. Police in Calgary claimed to have collected surveillance footage from around the area, and they determined that the suspect Muhammad and the victim 22 neat knew each other, but were unsure of a motive for the killing. YS and 22 neat's murders happened just a few days apart, so it makes it seem related, although there still hasn't been any convictions for either of their murders, just an arrest. At the time that 22 died, 21 neat was already in jail for a few months, so he would have received the tragic news that his older brother passed away while behind bars. The Neat brothers seemed to live a crazy life, and they were still young. They caused a lot of mayhem and only escalated beef in the city, with the killing of Smoke Dawg. They definitely left their mark on history of not only Toronto streets, but all of Canada. For now, all we can say is rest in peace to all those who passed away in the incidents of this story.
That shit is wild. Them two niggas is crazy. Like he said though, RIP to everybody that was involved in the whole thing. I'm learning little by little about a whole bunch of shit. About the whole Toronto scene. Right? Just from seeing the 2 videos, I learned it from the Houdini fallen rappers. But I didn't know all this shit right here, bro. I didn't know all this shit as far as the Smoke Dawg. I didn't know Dude YG and like Cool with the Meat Brothers. I didn't know Rolex and I didn't know all this shit. Right? I'm learning little by little, man. Y'all been wanting me to do some of this Toronto stuff. So why not, man? Why not? Y'all been asking for it, so why not? But I hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get out. See y'all on the next one. Your boy out.
Yeah, no, we not lazy, we working. Yeah, used to walk, now we in Porsche. Yeah, I got gelato and sherbet. Yeah, I ran that check up on purpose. Yeah, I got pink rocks on Hawaiian. Yeah, keep me in strong like I'm dyking. Yeah.